Good day to all you glorious Rascallion Resonators, you absolute legends. My name is FOXSOL. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to some more Wuthering Waves, and hopefully wherever you're at, you're having a tremendously fantastic, glorious day. Alrighty, so I'm going to lay it out on the table for you guys. Today's conversation is going to be based upon Wuthering Waves not being Genshin Impact killer. A lot of people like to refer to Wuthering Waves still to this day apparently that, oh, Wuthering Waves is the Genshin killer. And I hate to tell you this, but if you're one of those people that believes that Wuthering Waves is so far advanced above Genshin Impact, you're wrong. There is no denying it. While Wuthering Waves is still a great game, it still has some issues that prevents it from ever being the Genshin killer. So, with that being said, take a seat at the table, grab a cold one, and let's dive into the conversation. There's a lot of things that Wuthering Waves does that is so great. But the problem is that what Wuthering Waves does is not exactly a unique identity behind it. And that is the reason for this video, because there's, like I said, there is still some people that regard to this game as the potential Wuthering Waves killer, and I don't ever see that happening. Not at this time period. Maybe in the future, Kuro might cook, you know, but right now, not so much. And I'll put it like this. Believe it or not, the thing is that all Wuthering Waves is just a better version of Genshin. It is not its own unique game that actually truly competes with Genshin. And what I mean by that is that if you take a look at Genshin and you take a look at Wuthering Waves, all Wuthering Waves is just a different flavor. It's still the same open world environment. It's still the same basic concept of going around, collecting flowers, collecting materials, grinding. Your typical Genshin Impact style game. Grant you, Genshin stole from Breath of the Wild, and Wuthering Waves pretty much took from Genshin and said, hey, look, we can be better. And that's one thing that I think Kuro is really good at, from looking at their history and, you know, having this conversation with several people about different games like PGR, what PGR came from, which I never played this, but Impact Third or something like that, which was another Hoyo game. Kuro is really good at saying, hey, look, we like this game that y'all created, but we think it can be better, so we're going to make it better. And that's what they did. Wuthering Waves is no exception to this. Wuthering Waves, you know, is my favorite open world JRPG gacha game. Okay? I've played Genshin Impact. I did not like Genshin Impact, but I love Wuthering Waves, because Wuthering Waves, if you watched my video before, we've discussed it, but it's like, to me, there's a lot of different things in Genshin Impact that just turns me off, because it's not really momentum based. It's what I wanted. It's a sandbox world that I wanted. It was a game I wanted, but it just felt really sluggish, really slow, and some things about it just did not feel tremendously well. Whereas when Wuthering Waves came in, I was going to classify this game pretty much in the same regards. You know, I figured it was going to be just, you know, your typical Genshin clone, but I was heavenly surprised, and I said, damn, this is actually really fucking good. I like this. But I still recognize that this is still just another flavor of Genshin. You know, they're following the same roadmap, and the identity of this game is just like looking at, you know, it's like looking at instant ramen noodle cups. You got your beef flavor, you got your chicken flavor, you got your shrimp flavor, you got your spicy flavor. Each one is still a cup of fucking noodles. It's just as the different flavor, and you might not like the shrimp flavor as much as I like the beef flavor. So yeah, I like the beef flavor. It's got I feel it tastes better, whereas you may prefer the chicken flavor because it tastes better to you. And then there's that one guy that's out there that likes the shrimp flavor for whatever reason. Don't know, but that's his flavor, man. And that's the same concept with WuthringWaves. I feel like WuthringWaves suffers from an identity, from actually having its own identity. That's why it is so heavily compared. You know, that's why you'll see a lot of content creators be like, oh, WuthringWaves versus Genshin Impact, which one's better? You're gonna have the WuthringWaves people that says Genshin, that WuthringWaves is better. You're gonna have the Genshin people that says that Genshin's better. And there is no real rhyme or reason or answer to this when both games have the same identity. It's just that what WuthringWaves does is, as a flavor, it provides a better combat scheme, in my personal opinion. It provides a better momentum. It provides, you know, a more complex system behind it. It provides more skill than I feel than Genshin Impact did. You know, but at the end of the day, the main features of WuthringWaves, from its open world, from its characters, from pretty much just in general its entire world aspect, is just Genshin. That's why, like, I know some people who, like, you'll say, hey, look, I prefer ZZZ over WuthringWaves because ZZZ is a game that is not Genshin. It is not WuthringWaves. It's completely a different concept. It is going a different route to where, you know, even when they tried the map bullshit and everything in it, the little TV bullshit in it, it was a game that completely was different. It had a different feel. So instead of being just a cup of noodles, this was a cup of noodles that incorporated a hamburger and French fries on the side, you know, and it was a different, it was not just a different flavor. WuthringWaves, I really think, suffers from an identity. And I'm hoping, you know, with Kuro and my trust in them and my belief in them, that future-wise, they are already recognizing this. This is what my gut is telling me. They already recognize that, damn, a lot of this stuff is a little bit too similar to Genshin Impact. We need to start making changes to fix that, so that way we can separate the identity of both these games into something completely different. So that way the comparison might still be there, but there'll be a lot of different components and mechanisms that is just going to, you know, make it something completely different. I don't think we'll see something like that until like much later in the game, possibly like 6 months more to like a year and a half later. That's what I think. But to the people who's referring to this as, you know, a Genshin killer, I'll tell you like this: a lot of people I know of who play Genshin still that does not play WuthringWaves is because, why would I go ahead, and this is their opinion, and I agree with them, why would I go ahead and invest in WuthringWaves when basically it's the same thing, but I already have an account that's 4 years old that I've already invested so much time into? What's so different about WuthringWaves for me to jump into WuthringWaves? Oh, you got tactical hologram bosses. Oh, that's, to them, that's like, oh, that's a big deal. You got some end game stuff, big deal. But I have accounts, you know, that is free to play, whaled, and everything else that is 4 or 5 years old. And at the end of it, why would I change that? Why would I, you know, drop this for this? I mean, I could try to give them rhyme and reason all day long, but they do have a solid point. It's the same formula, different look. And I say, like, look, the look of WuthringWaves, it's a more mature look to me. It's not as kiddie and everything else. But, you know, I can't go ahead and devalue someone who spent 4 years on an account. You know, I really can't. I understand their mentality. And because of that, this is why people will still continue playing Genshin Impact. There is nothing really, honestly, that extraordinary, that revolutionary, that brand new to entice a person who for several years has been playing Genshin Impact to really want to drop it and come to WuthringWaves full time. So yes, WuthringWaves, I don't ever foresee it being a Genshin Impact killer. I think what's going to kill Genshin Impact is Genshin Impact itself at the end of the day. I think that if they keep going the route that they're going and they don't start listening to their players a little bit more and all that, that sooner or later it's going to catch up with them. Because when you see developers like Kuro, man, that's coming out of its way, that's doing on purpose to honestly, you know, make these changes of quality of life and do all these different things that we like as players and listen to their community, it shows the lack that, you know, a company like Hoyo has, because they don't seem to really care about their players as much. They just care about their wallet. And that's one good thing about Kuro. And you see, I'll say it like this before we end the video. I'm perfectly fine with this not killing Genshin Impact. I really am. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with WuthringWaves being a little niche game that, you know, makes its little 5-10 million here and provides me with great content, good generosity, good gameplay, and advances slowly. I am fine with that. If they never actually change the identity of this and leave it like it is exactly, I'm also fine with that. Because as a person who's never played Genshin Impact, well, can't say I never played Genshin Impact. I played it for 19 hours. So as a person who, you know, never really got into Genshin Impact is the better wording to use. This right here has suited my taste so much, and I think it suited your taste too if you're watching this video, that I think we're fine with the idea of WuthringWaves being its own thing. And yeah, being a goddamn Genshin clone and owning that. Because you know what? It's kind of like Sega versus Nintendo. How many times did Sega go ahead and fucking put up the advertisements? We do what Nintendo don't. When Nintendo don't. You know what I'm getting at? When Sega Genesis used the first Super Nintendo and those advertisements used to be all the place. Yeah, you might be too young for that. Go look it up on YouTube. That's what it used to be. It used to be Sega versus Nintendo all the time. And the biggest advertisement was because Sega was always considered a clone of Nintendo that they stole from Nintendo. And Sega's advertisement was, yeah, we are a clone. We build the same games as you build. And guess what? We do it better. You know what? I was always a Sega fanboy. Never a Nintendo fanboy. And there you go. I think that WuthringWaves is pretty much the Sega of the gaming world. I think, you know what? WuthringWaves does what Genshin don't. And you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that. So, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. I mean, like I said, do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I don't think that WuthringWaves will ever be, like I said, quote unquote, a Genshin killer. But by it being its own thing, I mean, by being, you know, even a clone of Genshin Impact to a lot of people, being just that different little flavor, I think it's just still fine. And I hope you do too. So, otherwise than that, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Keep it real, keep it jazzy, keep it classy. And as always, keep it real. See you later.